Good evening and welcome FAB members and friends to FAB Presents Outdoor Living and Urban Design. My name is Ruth Anderson Coggeshall. I have been a member of FAB for a number of years. I am on the board currently, and I co-chair the Visionary Committee with Louise Dill and our wonderful committee, Elaine Blattner, Jane Mills, and Kelly Finkel-Young. The Visionary Committee, the Visionary Fund, as many of you know, is our revenue stream that allows FAB to fulfill its mission, which is to support the arts community in Broward. It is the fund that provides the resources for operations, for infrastructure, and for everything that we can do to support our arts community. The fund is an annual fund. It starts on January 1st, ends on December 31st, and then it starts all over again. So now we are in 2021 for our annual giving fund. I can't tell you during this past year, which has been so full of challenges on so many different levels, how gratified all of us at Funding Arts Broward are by the incredible generosity of our members. And I want to take this occasion to say thank you to all of you. You have really touched our hearts. You've helped us enormously, and we are exceedingly grateful for your support. We have a wonderful evening for you this evening. We have Jason Hughes from ArtServe. We have Gage Couch from Cadence Landscaping Architecture, and we have Fernando Wong from Urban Living Design, Outdoor Living Design in Miami. So first, before we go to Jason, I just want to remind you that if you have some questions, we are going to have a Q&A afterwards. And you can just use, if you want to ask a question, just do it via chat. And we'll make sure that your question is answered. So now I'd like to introduce Jason Hughes. Jason is with ArtServe. He has been with ArtServe for many years. He served as vice president on the board. He served as president on the board. And this past September, he accepted the position of executive director. So we're very excited about having Jason here. He will give us an opportunity to tell us what's going on at ArtServe, and we're eager to hear what his thoughts are. So Jason, welcome.
Very much, Ruth. You know more about me than I do. That's awesome. Thank you very much, Ruth. And, I want to thank Ed and the entire board at FAB, Kat, Angela, yourself, Ruth, and the entire team. We're proud to call FAB as one of our neighbors inside the campus, I like to call it, the campus of ArtServe. And we're just delighted for it. And thank all of you for inviting me into your homes, this opportunity, whether it's in your office, your laptop, your cell phones, or iPads, however you're viewing or listening. Just thank you very much. Ruth nailed it. She goes, yes, I've been on the board for 6 years. I was vice president of the board, and the last 2 years was president of the board. So I've been a sponsor, I've been a guest, I've been a donor, I've been a member, a board member, and now staff. So I've done the whole gamut. I can tell you that when I go into ArtServe every morning, I feel like I'm coming home. I'm going home. I leave my home, my condo at the beach, and I go to ArtServe, and it just feels like home. So I'm delighted. I'm honored to be the executive director. If you don't know much about ArtServe, let me just give you a brief background. So we're based in Fort Lauderdale. We're in Holiday Park. ArtServe is one of the first arts incubators in the country. We have a 33-year history. And essentially, the building that we're in used to be a regional library. And when it was converted into an arts organization, art studio type thing, we were welcome to create what we do here at ArtServe. The county owns the building. We're on city land, keeps it interesting. But essentially, we're a creative laboratory. We're a hub for artists who are committed to diversity, equity, inclusion, and we focus on cultivating a growing population of artists interested in reaching new audiences through creative initiatives. So we also are blessed to have 2 museums. We're bookended by 2 museums. So we have Stonewall National Museum and Archives on one side, and in September, the World AIDS Museum moved from Wilton Manors into ArtServe. So we are very excited about that. Essentially, people say, what does ArtServe do? We do a lot of things. But at the core of what we do is we teach artists the art of business. We're here to help them shape their careers, learn how to price their art, learn how to market their art, learn about the curation process, and that's what we do. You know, we contribute a lot of money to the economy. We have about 2,000 artists who sell their work and build businesses. They engage countless citizens throughout the year. And we're dedicated to ensuring that the arts continue to expand throughout the community. And I'm going to use the word community quite often because that's what we are. We are a community organization. And part of my vision of this is to really make us stronger, because when we bring in the community, and this is a safe space for people who want to either enjoy art or you're not an artist, but it's a safe space. And that's really what part of my vision is. And we do this through, you know, donations, sponsorships, memberships. We have tenants, we have artist studios, we have rentals. And we really encourage those people who love the arts and love creativity to become a donor, to become an exhibiting sponsor or a member, because that really helps build the platform that we need to improve our world through the arts. And my goodness, we need that right now, especially everything we've been going on through the pandemic. Part of when I took over in August, September, I really wanted to focus ArtServe on the 4 C's, I call it. It's compassion for artists, for guests, for members, the community, my team. Secondly, community. It's what brings us all through this COVID crisis. ArtServe is a cultural hub in the center of our community. So everything we do, the lens we look through all the time, is compassion and community, which the third C for me is continuity. We're going to keep doing what we're doing while artists keep creating. As long as artists keep creating, we're going to keep doing what we're doing. And fourth is commitment. We're committed to our community, to our artists, to our members, our tenant families like FAB. We're energized, and we will stay focused on serving the community. That's what we've done. You know, so what does an artist enjoy a benefit of membership? So we do. You know, we have about 6 exhibitions that we put on a year. ArtServe used to be a rental facility for the gallery. We've changed that in about last year or so, where we curate our own exhibits now. So we have a call to artists about 6 or 7 times a year. We provide grant information assistance with applications, including FAB grants. We have education, we have classes, business skill development, marketing and curatorial consultation. We have obviously the workspaces, display spaces, performance spaces, participation in shows and opportunity, networking when we used to be able to network. We are open. ArtServe is open, and we're ready for business, and we are here. I've also created a new program called Friends of ArtServe, and Friends of ArtServe is a non-restricted giving fund that's bringing together people who maybe aren't necessarily artists but want to contribute to ArtServe. And what I'm trying to do is create this kind of community, a social community of like-minded people who want to support the arts and want to support ArtServe. So I started that in the fall, and we have quite a few members right now, so we're pretty excited about that. We also, you know, give discounts on events if you're a member, facility rentals, classes, and gift shops and stuff. So the question I get asked all the time is, how has our business been affected by COVID? Well, let me tell you right away, when we closed to the public on March 19th, we pivoted, I know that's not a nice word anymore, adapted is another word people are saying, to ArtServe Live. ArtServe Live was about 3 or 4 or 5 times a week, and we brought the artistic community together to talk about what's going on. We talked about depression, we talked about ways to sell your art in a pandemic, and we've done over 120 of those ArtServe Live. To the point now, people are approaching us to produce their own things for-profit companies, which is pretty cool. So it really allowed us to amplify the work and share the talents of our artists from all over South Florida and give them a stage they would never have had before. So we're pretty excited about that. We are open, like I said. We do private tours of 10 or less people. We're CDC compliant, COVID compliant. Everything is good. Right now, we have an exhibit called The Salon, which is our member exhibit. In March, we're doing Changing Landscapes, and it's the first time we're doing an exploration of the environment and water. How appropriate for Florida, because we live in an aquifer, and water is all around us. So that's a pretty exciting exhibition that we have. Just to highlight a couple other things. We're really proud of this workshop, what we're doing, that is free for healthcare workers. It's called Compassion Through Creativity. And it's a chance for them to explore 6 different genres of art each week, and to working with the University of Florida on this to explore the ideas of how creativity can benefit people. And we're actually measuring it, so we'll have metrics based on that. But more importantly, we just want to bring our healthcare workers and our first responders into the facility and let them know, again, this is a safe space, this is a community space, this is your space. So I, being on the other side of the door, I guess you could say, as executive director in the last several months, I just have a much deeper appreciation for what ArtServe represents and how it positively impacts the arts and the artists in our community. And I'm more passionate now than ever. The best thing about ArtServe is when you walk in that door, there's so much going on. There's workshops, there's classes, there's dance things, there's so much going on. It is tough right now. It is very tough in the arts field. Sometimes we're at the low of the totem pole, if you will, of donations and people contributing. So it continues to be a struggle. I won't lie. It is continuing to be tough to get corporate sponsorships. And a lot of donors just don't want to meet right now in person, and understandable. But I just would like to encourage everybody who's listening. Obviously, you're involved in the arts community, just to give an extra a shoulder of support for all our artists in our artistic and nonprofits here in Broward County. It's really important. People ask, how can I help? Become a member, become a Friends of ArtServe member. We'd love you to be a member, volunteer, and to share our information with artists. Let people know that we're open. We have a 33-year history, as I mentioned. It's about compassion, community, consistency, and continuity. And that is ArtServe in my 8-minute speech. I can talk a lot more, as everybody knows, but I really appreciate the opportunity. I very much appreciate FAB for giving us the opportunity. ArtServe is a beautiful, beautiful, wonderful place, and we're really lucky to have this in the community, and I'm honored to be part of it.
Thank you, Jason. That's really wonderful. I love your 4 C's. That's something that a lot of us could use. And I have to say that you are one of FAB's grantees.
Yes.
And another thing I want you to know is my husband and I have a number of paintings that we have bought over the years from ArtServe. So it's a great resource. Wonderful.
You're seeing it behind me. Me yes. Too. I'm running out of wall space. Thank you for that support.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It is now my great pleasure to introduce Gage Couch. He is a co-founder with Rebecca Bradley of Cadence Landscaping Architecture. And Gage is from South Carolina. He grew up there with a great love of nature, and he applies that to his work. He says that he is a creator, a doer, a thinker, a collaborator, and he takes all of those things and puts them together so that he can have wonderful progressive solutions to his work. He focuses on nature, on sustainable solutions, and always on attention to detail. So it's really a pleasure for me to welcome Gage and to learn about Cadence. I'm really eager to hear what's going on at Cadence these days. Gage?
Sorry, Gage. Well, I have to ask you to unmute.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Oh, good. All right. Hello, everyone. I'll start back over. I apologize for that. Thank you, Ruth, for the introduction, and thank you, FAB, for inviting me to present alongside Jason and Fernando this evening. Thank you to everyone at home for watching as well. In early 2020, Cadence was selected by the American Society of Landscape Architects to have our firm featured during the annual conference, which was scheduled to be hosted in Miami. Unfortunately, the in-person conference was canceled due to COVID, but we were able to create a series of short videos about Cadence, which were then streamlined to a virtual audience. Tonight, we're going to show the first video of the series where you will hear a little bit about the beginnings of Cadence, our personal backgrounds, and how we intentionally approach projects as the role of landscape architect. We will now roll directly into a video where you will hear from a business partner alongside a few of the Cadence team members. I'll follow up the video with a few additional project slides as well. Video, please.
So I'm originally from Louisiana, born and raised there, and went to LSU's School of Landscape Architecture, and graduated from there in 2001 and came to Fort Lauderdale for my very first job and have never left. So that's how I made it to South Florida. Also when studying at LSU, I was able to study over in Edinburgh at the College of Art. They had a wonderful exchange program, so I was one of the students that got to partake in that particular experience.
So I grew up in a small town in South Carolina. I moved to Fort Lauderdale in 2005 to work for a large corporate firm early in my career. I was always very hands-on as a kid. My grandfather had a wood shop. I was constantly in there building things, building tree houses. I was outside, always in nature until it was dark. So I think the combination of my love for the outdoors and a very hands-on problem-solving approach led me to landscape architecture. I graduated from Clemson University in 2005, and I also did a study abroad program in Barcelona, Spain for 3 months prior to graduating.
When we were starting our firm in 2010, it was really important to us to figure out, what is the name of this company going to be? We wanted it to be something bigger than obviously ourselves one day. So we were looking to the future and knew that we didn't want it represented with initials or our name. So it was one of the larger investments we made. We worked with a branding specialist to help us devise this name, and it was a really cool process actually to be the client and not the consultant, and it was great. He worked through interviewing different people who had worked with us that knew us, and through this probably 2-month process he helped us find a name that was representative authentically of who we were and how we worked. And so the name Cadence, is representative of the rhythm in which we do our work, the rhythm in which we communicate, the rhythm in nature, and the rhythm in which you will experience the projects that we design. So that is where the name comes from. It's an action-based name, so we are all about doing things and taking action. And to this day, we are still so excited with the name of our company.
The reason that we first started Cadence was we saw a lack in good design here in Fort Lauderdale and an attention to detail of community projects. So we wanted to make a difference in the place that we lived, and we wanted to, do things better than what we had seen done before. When we first started, we knew that we needed to do something a little bit different than the traditional business model, and we decided to go with a triple bottom line approach, giving equal attention to environment, economics, and social aspects of every project. So we know that it's very important that the economics work for a project, but we also know that nature is the guide, and we like to follow her, and then blending those two is really what gets a good social project and a good socially responsible project as well.
Our office is located in downtown Fort Lauderdale. We are actually in an art district, Fat Village Art District. We put our office here probably back in 2012. When we started the firm, we knew that we wanted to be careful about where we placed the location of the business. We wanted to be in a place that had a good sense of community. We saw this area as an area that was kind of up and coming. There was already an existing creative community, and we wanted to be an additional part of that. And over the past, I guess that's 8 years now, right? This neighborhood has just kind of exploded. Luckily, we are still here in our space and still can afford our rent. We're still here partaking in the neighborhood, and it's great. We're a storefront. We're right on the streetscape here in downtown Fort Lauderdale, and we love kind of the interface we have directly with the public realm, and just having our space be in the urban core, since a lot of the things we're trying to focus on is improving the way the city or the community sees themselves as they connect to nature in the city.
Yeah, so our portfolio ranges all over the place. We have smaller projects from high-end residential all the way to multi-acre resorts. Our work spans all the way from Key West up to South Georgia. We have a very brand new resort project that just opened in Key West at the beginning of the year called Stock Island. All outdoor experience, multiple pools, event lawns, hammocks, all types of things. So they've actually been able to transition a little bit better during COVID because of all the outdoor space that they have available for their users. We're also doing a lot of urban projects here in downtown Fort Lauderdale. There's a multi-sensory mural that's just down the street from our office. It infuses murals, texture, sound, and smell all into one mural. And then one of the newer projects that we're really excited about that we've been working on is a climate farming and agro-tourism project in South Florida that's right adjacent to the Okefenokee Swamp.
This particular, our firm is co-leadership, so it's a dual leading partnership between myself and Gage, and we're 50-50 owners. Decisions, marketing, the operations of everything is split, and we really pride ourselves on our collaborative spirit with one another, and then trying to work through that with the staff that we have, our team, and we try to show that as an example with all of our clients and our consultants. And it's a really cool thing. Most of the time people address both of us. You can see that it's seen as an equal collaboration and not one versus the other. We both do have different strengths, so obviously there are things that Gage might rise to do more than what I will do, and then there's some different strengths that I have. But in general, it's a really cool atmosphere that we have here in the office and our working relationship. And I do believe it's what has allowed us to sustain this long, having a creative, collaborative partner that builds you up and that helps you seek out challenges and is not in a competitive role with you. We just are able to build each other up. So I think that comes through in the work that we do.
I am able to come in every day and I enjoy working with my teammates. I have been here since 2013, and every day we get to experience something new.
I think working with Cadence has been a unique experience because we're a small and a tight-knit team, and I'm personally not from Florida, and ever since working with Cadence I've been able to connect to the local community a lot better. And I've gotten a better understanding of the city and its needs, and we get to work at different scales.
What I believe makes Cadence unique is our approach to the design process and our ability to create a sense of place. Using indigenous plant materials and hardscape materials to really make a project, fit in its locale, whether we're working on our projects in Florida or Louisiana or even Georgia.
All righty, thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed that quick snapshot video of Cadence. We're going to roll into a few slides now, we can quickly pan through some of our projects and just build on the variety of work that I mentioned here in the video. This first slide is a residential project that we completed in 2013 in Northwest Louisiana. We developed a strong vision to blend a French country garden design with a classic Louisiana hardscape. Different elements and different native plant materials were infused. This is the front shot of the estate. Slide 2 shows a very axial view from the interior of the dining room overlooking a lawn terrace down to a pool deck and with a stone fireplace as the terminal. And this is all nestled within a mature woodland backdrop where we worked around a lot of existing trees on site to save those and use those as this backdrop. The next slide shows a much more contemporary house that we recently finished in Weston, Florida. This photo shows the front entry arrival garden, which features a large Brazilian leopard tree. The next photo is an aerial shot of the same space directly above, displaying the intentional shapes of planting beds and highlighting some of the composition of the planting design. Slide 5 is a night shot of an entry courtyard for a coastal modern house located in East Fort Lauderdale. This house was designed very intimately with the architect in order to achieve a seamless balance of nature and structure. The next image is a snapshot from the backyard underneath the loggia space with a view to a keystone fireplace and a backdrop of bay rum trees. The next slide is Stock Island Marina Village, located just outside of Key West, which I mentioned in the video. We completed this in 2019. Cadence was responsible for designing this 3-acre adjacent parcel to an existing hotel. And we designed various amenities for the hotel and the marina guests. Design elements focus on a very community-centric village. It includes a lagoon pool and an event lawn, which you see here. Some other elements which we were excited to incorporate were orchid pavilions. There's a waterfront bar and restaurant. There's an artist co-op space worked into one of the old shrimp buildings there. There's a dog park, an exercise trail, and all of this is linked together with various paths throughout the space. The next slide is obviously the same space, but pre-COVID times. The event lawn has served them for social gatherings like you see here in this yoga class. There's been small weddings, musical performances out there. And I mentioned in the video, but one of the things that they were able to do with the space is because they have so much outdoor space. During COVID, they've been able to still utilize all of their outdoor space, but keep their guests social distance in a comfortable manner. The last 2 slides are going to be projects that we currently have on the boards. This is an urban infill project located in Miami Beach. It's going to feature a mix of hotel units and micro residential units with amenities that focus on a very health and balanced wellness within this urban setting. Cadence was responsible for the hardscape and plaza designs at grade, as well as the pool deck experience, which you can see here in the view. Another cool feature that we designed with this, which is on the back side that you don't see, is an outside conference room for guests or residents who are going to be working remotely. And then the final slide that we have on the boards is a public beachfront park and jetty walk designed for the village of Bow Harbor. Cadence is currently serving as the landscape architect of record for this renovation project. The design is intended to bring visitors closer to the kinetic energy of the Atlantic Ocean's wind and tidal patterns with cantilever boardwalks that you can see extend out over the water. We're also taking into account the sea coral that's located adjacently within the water and relocating that appropriately as well, and also doing major improvements with the planting with native material. So very much things that are going to benefit marine and wildlife habitats, as well as give people a new social space to interact. The construction slated to begin in 2022 for this. And that concludes my portion. Thank you everyone for watching, and I look forward to answering any questions once Fernando presents. Thank you.
Thank you, Gage. That was really wonderful. And thank you to Rebecca too. I love the notion that cadence is the rhythm of so much work, nature, whatever. That's wonderful. Thank you very much. And now it is my great pleasure to introduce Fernando Wong of Outdoor Living Design. Fernando and Tim Johnson are co-founders. They established themselves in 2005 in Miami. Subsequent to that, they have offices in Palm Beach and in Southampton. They have completed projects all over the United States and literally around the world. So they're a global entity. They are experts in garden design and landscape architecture. They do all sorts of things, which Fernando will talk about, but ranging from sculpture gardens to outdoor kitchens to garden pavilions. I can't wait to hear more about what Fernando is going to tell us that they are working on at this moment. I know they have a little project in Fort Lauderdale too, so keep tuned. Fernando, welcome.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Fernando Wong. I'm originally from Panama. I have been in the United States since 2001, and in 2005, I started our company, my partner and I, Tim Johnson, on Miami Beach. And that's where we started. Today, we do have offices in Miami, Palm Beach, and Southampton for the summer. But today, we are going to stay close to home and then going to show you one of our projects in my neighborhood in Palm Beach called A South Lake Trail. Please stay tuned because I have a little bit more information after the video is over. So please stay with us. Thank you,
What
everyone.
a beautiful video. Oh my goodness. I want to live in one of those houses.
So do I. Well, couple of side notes. This project we started designing in 2017, but the installation began on February 2018 through the government process and permit process. That was design phase, but we finished it on May 2019. So it has just barely the beginning of all the rainy seasons. So gearing up for the garden tour that it took everybody's breath away when they saw that beautiful tree at the end. In fact, one of the ways that we approach design is deeply rooted in classical architecture. And for me, I think that architecture is one of the highest expressions of art because it combines so many elements to it. And I think that it's about time that we can actually perceive nature as a form of art. So I think that everybody appreciates that wonderful K-pot tree. And in fact, that tree and that garden actually is featured in this month's Town and Country issue. So you will have a little bit of an insight about the project and the pedigree that these residents have.
Great. Great. Are you talking about the current issue, or the February issue, or January?
Yes.
February.
February,
Wonderful.
yes.
Wonderful. Now you have a few more slides to show us, do you not?
Yes, and that one also stays very close to home, is in Fort Lauderdale. And that project started in 2012 with a little bit of my sketches, my hand drawings, and so on. And the next slide also show the different ideas that I have for the pool area in combining the architecture with the garden. And doing that process, we progress into AutoCAD as well as three-dimensional renderings that are a little bit more finished, which is the next slide. And that engage very much A1A and the boardwalk. There's a series of terraces of gardens that are going to be dealing with the change in elevation, because there's going to be wonderful garden facing the ocean, but also in the restaurant at the lobby area. It will just allure people with the wonderful fragrance of food and lively. Hopefully soon, when all of these will pass, then we can go to the beautiful pool terrace which faces the beach, while the sway of the wonderful coconuts can actually allow you for a wonderful tropical experience. And it's almost finished. So by the end of 2021, will be completely done, hoping that everything goes well. But I had some pictures that show the progression of the tower. And please be noticed that there are few of these units left. And if you require anything or a little bit of more information, the Four Seasons for Lauderdale have a wonderful website that present every of the professionals involved. And I think that you will enjoy additional renderings as well as conversations that we have. So thank you.
That's great. It's so wonderful that you're working on a project in Fort Lauderdale. We're really pleased about that. I walk along the beach almost, 2 or 3 times a week, and I'm always looking at the progress that's being made. But it amazes me, you started this project in 2012?
Correct.
So it's almost going to be, it's a 9-year project.
Correct.
Oh,
and at the same year, there was another one in Palm Beach that we started. That was a renovation, but I've been very busy, thank God. But I'm very excited because this is top of the line materials, beautiful design. So it's going to connect the coastal line with the rest of the city have to offer. I'm super excited.
It sounds absolutely wonderful. Thank you, Fernando. I'm so happy to know about you and your company and what you're doing. It's
you.
wonderful. Thank you so much. So now we've come to part of our program where we're going to bring Jason back and Gage and Fernando, and we're going to have an opportunity to ask them some questions. So again, if you have a question, just use chat. And I'm going to bring Kat in, our wonderful administrator for FAB, who is going to moderate this. So Kat, what do we have?
Hi, Ruth.
Hi.
Thank you so much. We do have some questions for Jason, for Gage, and for Fernando.
Great.
So if we can bring them on, we'll get started.
Hello.
There we go.
It's like
Gentlemen,
the Brady Bunch.
It is. Something's happening here. It looks like it, huh? It sure is. Well, thank you guys very much for your presentations. They were wonderful. And I'm going to start with Jason. So we have some questions that have come in for you regarding art shows and curation, what's going on within the next few months with the understanding that COVID is still pretty active in Broward County. Will we be having any in-person events?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you for that. I had to, unfortunately had to cancel a couple of the openings we had in December and in January. I just didn't feel comfortable. I just didn't want to risk our tenants and our artist members and guests. It just didn't feel right. So what we're doing is we're doing a private event actually on Thursday for Friends of ArtServe founding members. It's only 30 people. It's in the auditorium, and we're doing a virtual reality type performance. It's super cool. So she basically will paint with her glasses on, with the audience contributing ideas like paint a tree or make that happen. So we're trying that. We are going to have Changing Landscapes, the exhibit I mentioned in March. We are going to have a socially distanced opening. We just cannot continue to not have events. They're not going to look like they used to look like. There won't be 200 people there, but the community, the artists need that outlet right now. And so socially responsible. Kat, you work there. We're pretty good. You have to walk around certain ways in art, right? So we're planning on that. One thing that we are adding and doing different, we're actually creating a pandemic exhibit. That's going to be in June. And it's going to give an opportunity for artists of any genre to just kind of reflect on their last year, what's going on last year, and how you're feeling. So we're pretty excited about that. And then the rest of our artistic season is we hope to have it continue to go.
That's fantastic. And is that Changing Landscapes, is that a FAB funded event?
It is a FAB funded event. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. You don't have to throw that in there.
We are very excited about that. Yes, it definitely is. And we're excited. We have some great submissions already, some really interesting things. We actually don't really even know what it means, Changing Landscapes, because we're kind of letting the artists decide what that means to them. Their relationship to the environment, their relationship to water, the relationship to how they live in Florida. So we're pretty excited about it. And we have some other nice support. But thank you to FAB. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Thank you to you as well for what you're doing in the community. I think it's fantastic. It's to see the changes and the evolution of ArtServe over the last 6 months. It's been amazing. Every time I walk in, I'm more and more impressed. So I'm really glad that you were able to join us today.
Thank you so much.
And Ed is curious as to how you're using that theater space at ArtServe.
So the theater space is open for rentals. Anybody can rent it. We do have church service every Sunday, and they have rehearsals on Thursdays. So the space is open. The event I referenced on Thursdays, coming Thursday with 30 people, we're doing like a kind of small little tables, like kind of like a Parisian cafe feel, if you will. So we're open. What we've experienced along with a lot of hotels have experienced and rental spaces is a lot of people are not signing on the dotted line. They're still concerned, and it's a problem. It's still an issue. But we are open for business. You can't walk into ArtServe without being sprayed with you know, hand sanitizer and stuff. But otherwise, Florida Grand Opera is coming back in February and March. They've signed. They're going to start doing performances as well. So we're seeing a little bit of an uptake in it.
Well, I will say, just being attendant and being there a few times, more than a few times a week, that you are taking being super responsible and taking all the precautions. And it's a safe environment to visit because of all the efforts that you and the staff are making sure you're in compliance with. So
thank you for observing that. Thank you. We take it very, very, very seriously.
Great. Well, I will say just one more question for you, Jason, that I'm curious about. Are there any arts organizations that are coming in and using the theater space to produce virtual programming as we're going into grant season? Is that something that's happening at all in the community?
We've had a few organizations that we've collaborated with that have postponed the collaboration with us till things kind of get better in that space. But we are open for virtual events. We've had some for-profit companies reach out to us to do some of their holiday parties. We did a few holiday parties for some for-profit companies, and a major bank is going to do a virtual speaker series for a female Black History Month, but a women's group, which is super cool. And that's all virtual, but that will be done in the auditorium. My understanding is some people, if they want to attend, they can come. If they don't have to. So it's like a hybrid.
Great. Okay, great. Well, thank you for all that 411. We appreciate it. And we're going to move on to Gage. Gage, how are you?
I'm
how are
good.
you doing? Good. Let's see. So for you, I'm curious about, you spoke about some marine life, primarily being in question of being at some sort of threat or risk when you're working. What marine life is that? Are you talking about sea turtles or just primarily anything like that?
Yeah, so I mean, sea turtles are always a factor when we're doing any of this direct beachfront type design. So, we're working closely with the Department of Environmental Protection to get clearances from them on lighting and different plants and things like that, just to make sure that we're turtle code compliant. So if you go up and down, A1A on Fort Lauderdale Beach at night, you'll notice all of the amber lights are out there. And that's the reason specifically for those lights. So things like that. But, with the recent Bell Harbor project that we're involved in, we actually had divers go out, do surveys of the coral marine life that's directly adjacent to the jetty, document all that so that if we're going to be doing any impacts when we do some of the structure, we'll actually go down and relocate those corals to make sure that they're going to survive, and if not, even help promote them as well through some of the other construction techniques that we'll be applying.
Fantastic. That's really great to know. And Ed actually had a question. He's asking if you could tell us briefly about one of your most challenging projects.
I'd probably have to say that Bell Harbor project, the one that we're currently working on, it's very challenging, but it makes it very fun as well. We've got a really good team of consultants on it, but there's a lot of different layers involved in this project, and especially working over an existing jetty that's been there for a number of years, where the infrastructure is out of date. So we're having to come in and structurally reinforce that. But also to make sure that it's resilient with the wave action that they get out there. And then also, for hurricanes and things like that, we're also factoring in the sea turtle life. There's manatees that actually hang out in that cove there. So between that and figuring out plants and, it being a public project and having all that community input, there are very, very many layers that are involved. So it's our job to kind of go through each of those layers, check off everything that we need to, but also make sure that everything's working holistically as well. So it's a long process. There's a lot of agencies that are involved for permitting, a lot of consultants and team members along the way. So I would say that's probably our most challenging project right now.
It seems like it would be. It seems like a lot of moving parts there. It's pretty intense. It's beautiful.
There are, and then at the end of the day, you have to deliver, something that's a beautiful project. So, keeping that design intent from the beginning of what you sold is the big idea, and making sure that you fall within budget, that all the materials that you're, using are going to be able to handle all those conditions out there, and seeing it through to construction. So we're excited to see it get started, but we still got a long ways ahead.
Well, we're excited to watch it all happen and come together. Thank you so much. We appreciate the time. Fernando. Hi.
Hi.
Well, I wanted to say first, your presentation is beautiful. All of your presentations were great. Your video was really profound. I really liked it. And I was wondering what your background is like. Obviously, it's architecture, but is there any interest in art or classical music or anything like that?
I did art for 6 years when I was just a teen. Incidentally, at times I have donated time for an organization called Posse. And I remember dealing with a group of young students that were barely leaving elementary school. And they always told me that they loved to draw. And very much so, like I did when I was very little, my mother, to keep me quiet in church, will make drawings, and I was in awe, and I want to replicate that. So that was my first introduction to drafting. My mother.
Wow, moms are special, aren't they?
Yeah.
So do you have a passion project?
Well, every single one is important to me, and I think that I disclose the amount of time that these projects take. So, I mean, I'm 45. You might think that that's not old, but you dedicate basically several years to complete something. So, and then all of a sudden you have to handle these to someone. So it's kind of your brainchild. So you really hope that, nature doesn't ravage a garden that you conceive, but they will grow and they will get strong, and hopefully people will appreciate landscape as a form of art.
It is absolutely, I think by the time we saw that, it's absolutely art. It's creative and beautiful, and it takes so much, obviously so many different moving pieces that are involved in putting it together. This is amazing. I'm blown away by all of it. Wow.
And everything starts from a simple drawing, which is going to the origins, right?
For sure, yeah. That's how everything starts, right? It's one simple idea. You guys have great ability to visualize things, obviously.
I think we're very lucky.
Yeah. Well, I think South Florida is pretty lucky to have all of you associated. Well, I think that we are going to wrap up this portion of the question and answer segment. And I wanted just to say that I think we've all enjoyed your passion and the energy you put into sustaining the arts and the effort and careful planning and the beautification of South Florida. So on behalf of all of us at Funding Arts Broward, we'd like to thank you for participating. And Ruth?
Yes, thank you so much, Fernando, Gage, and Jason. It was absolutely wonderful to hear about the projects and to hear what you're doing. And I think we are also blessed to have you in South Florida. Absolutely wonderful. And I also want to make sure that everybody who is viewing marks March 1st for our next FAB Presents. This has been an extraordinary year. Again, as I said before, on so many different levels, and we are missing all of our members so much. We haven't been able to get together, but to make up for it in some respect, we have been trying to do FAB Presents to bring us all together. And on March 1st, we are going to focus on the legendary Broadway choreographer, Bob Avian. So I hope you will all be with us. Until then, be safe, stay healthy, and know how much and how deeply Funding Arts Broward appreciates what you do for us and for the arts in Broward. We are so blessed to have you as our members, and your generosity, your dedication, your support is absolutely the best. Thank you. Good evening.